So I'm going to be making barbecue pork chops, and here I have my pork chops that's thinly sliced thanks to Sinclair's Meat Market in Crossroads. I always talk about them. So this is sliced to my liking, very thin, so I won't have overly thick pork chops in the oven forever, because that's where I'm going to be preparing it, in the oven. Today I won't be doing it on a grill outside, you know, barbecue grill kind of style. So I'm going to season this up with some dry seasoning first, and that will be a little bit of Italian seasoning. Now the Mediterranean blend for the Italian season has marjoram, oregano, same difference, thyme, rosemary, savory, basil, and sage. So I am going to add a little bit of that. I love this. Some persons don't have to include this. You may want to go with just your thyme and scallion, which will also be added to this dish, but somehow I like the taste that the Mediterranean blend gives to the meat, so I'm going to go in with that. I'm also going in with some salt and black pepper. You could use white pepper if you so desire. Now, this is what is very important, the salt. You cannot cook pork that is fresh. Pork must have salt. So don't mind the fact that this might look like a lot of salt. That's all right, because pork is to be salty. And I'm using sea salt here. Next, I'm going in with a little bit of ground ginger. This is the other thing. You cannot cook pork without ginger. Lots of ginger too, or else it will hurt your belly. Right, so I have that in there, and I'm going in now with a little bit of cayenne pepper, not too much, because I'm going to be adding some Scotch bonnet pepper as well. You know me, my go-to seasoning, my Cajun seasoning. Love the taste of Cajun seasoning, so I'm adding a little bit of that. And here is one thing that some persons may not know is good when you're making barbecue: mustard powder. All right, so this is going to give it a little tang, a little zest. So I have a bit of mustard powder there, and I am also going to be adding paprika. Paprika, as you know, is grounded sweet pepper. Purpose of that is just to add some color. If you'd like, you could add cumin to this. I'm not going to be adding any cumin today. So first step for me now is just to massage this. The aim is that all the pieces are going to be nicely coated. All right, so we just want to massage this a little bit. Some persons would probably use a meat tenderizer here just to prick this a little bit. I'm not, because it is thinly sliced, which means that it's going to cook up quite easily, you know, so I don't have to go through the trouble of doing that. All right, so once this is done, the next step of the game for me is to add a little bit of soy sauce. Others may use browning. Browning for me is solely for baking. I don't use browning when I'm cooking. So soy sauce is what I'm going to add. Not too much, just enough to get the flavor going. And of course, I'm using the ginger soy sauce, the Island Spice brand. I like this, again, additional ginger flavor. Not too much, as I've mentioned, just enough for color. Woo. All right, that still should be fine. Again, just want to work this in, allow it to soak up that soy sauce goodness. All right, so this looks good. So next up, I am going in now with the other seasoning. So I'm going to be adding some ginger. I had grated this ginger. I'm going in with some scallion that I've really chopped, some chopped garlic, I have some additional pieces of thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper, and I do have some onions that I have placed in a ring. And last but not least, I'm going to be adding a few pieces of clove, and I'm also going to be adding some pimento. So here goes the clove. A lot of people believe that clove is only used at Christmas time when you're, you know, cooking up your ham, but clove is actually very nice with pork generally. And if you think about it, where does the ham come from? Well, not with these new things that people talk about, chicken ham and all that, but it actually comes from the pig ham, traditional ham, right? So naturally, cloves, that's good for pork as well. And I've also added some pimento berries. So what am I going to do here now? Just massage this into the meat. Make sure that all the pieces, again, nicely coated. And once that is done, I am going to be covering it up with some saran wrap or plastic wrap, as some persons call it, and just resting it in the fridge overnight. And then prepare it. If you have to do it the same day, you might want it to just sit there anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour. The pork has finished marinating, so one of the key things you want to do is to take it out of the fridge, allow it to come back to room temperature. As you can see, this is nicely seasoned and it smells really good. So already you can bet that it's going to be awesome once it's done. So while this is, you know, coming back to room temperature, you want to go ahead and boom, turn on your oven and put it to about 375 degrees and allow it to preheat there. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna turn on my oven to 375 degrees and allow it to preheat. You also want to have your baking sheet or your casserole dish, whatever it is that you will use, ready. I have used my baking tray from my oven and I've lined it with some extra foil paper just because this is going to be barbecue, which means that chances are it's going to get sticky and messy and difficult to clean. So to combat all of that, I have gone in with some foil paper, lined the baking tin, and then I have put baking sheet on top. That will help to retain the moisture with the pork. All right, our oven is hot and I have gone ahead and I have placed the pieces on the baking sheet, and so the next step is to pop it in the oven, and we're just gonna cook it there until it is nice and tender. The pork is fully cooked and the sauce is ready, so I'm just going to go ahead now and coat each piece with some barbecue sauce. I'm going to be doing this according to some layers, so I probably will do this in 2 rotations, right? On one side, then I'll rotate, do the other side. You can use a pastry brush to brush on the sauce if you'd like, or some persons just use a spoon. You know the drill already. With me, it's about practicality. Just use whatever it is that you have. You know the pork is fully cooked because if you notice, some of the fatty section from the pork has actually removed itself from the body, which is fine because I am not a lover of fat on meat. I think I've always said that. I prefer when the meat is lean. Now here's a fun fact about pork. Did you know that pork is actually white meat? Yep, which means that pork is not that bad for you as people think. But people are going to tell you about how long it takes to digest and all of that. If that's the case, then we shouldn't eat any meat at all. If we want to talk about digestion and how it processes in the body, right? But I'm just gonna go through, pretty up these bad boys, give them a nice little dose of sauce, homemade sauce. Now this sauce also has a lot of ginger in it and it has some salt, okay? Because like I said to you, when it comes to cooking pork, you cannot afford for the pork to be fresh. Fresh pork equal hurt belly. All right, so we're not promoting a hurt belly thing around here when we're cooking food. So we have to make sure that it's done the right way. Now, another thing about basting meat with any form of sauce that you have to bear in mind, you can't use a cold sauce to baste the meat. It's best that the sauce is hot, which is why I made it on the stove top, and then I'm adding it now. All right, so I'm going to put this in back for like 2 minutes and let this side caramelize, and then I'm gonna switch it around and do the other side. So our pork is done, and I'm just gonna go right ahead and plate this up. Lovely, right? Nice thick sauce on the pieces. You can tell it's well done. This is fall off the bone goodness. Love that. All right, guys, there you have it, the finished product. That is the barbecue pork served with a rosemary infused mashed potato, and of course some stir-fried vegetables in garlic butter and coated with almond. Sunday evening never had to be this great. Bon appetit. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, comment, and of course, if you've not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Go right ahead and subscribe. Guys, I'll see you in the next video.